Great, congratulations. Wait, when did you get hitched?
Thank you. I got married about a month ago, so immediately got back from my honeymoon and started working to get Brett Kavanaugh confirmed to the Supreme Court.
Well, you're obviously doing a bang-up job then.
It's definitely been an interesting journey, but I mean, I think that if you look at the process here and you look how Senate Democrats handled this whole thing, they took what should be a refined and respected process and turned it into an absolute circus, violating the privacy of both Dr. Ford, Judge Kavanaugh. Their lives are forever changed on the basis of what they did, and I just think it's an absolute disgrace.
It is obviously, and for the last 2.5 years, our country has definitely been divided along political lines, and it's been a very partisan divide in our country lately. But this, and the two some odd years of the Trump administration, perhaps could be the most divisive thing that this president has faced so far while in office. I mean, I thought the border wall and dealing with Muslim travel bans, I thought those were pretty divisive issues as well. But this one has really brought out the ugliness in both political parties and is tearing many people apart, I believe.
Yeah, I mean, look, I think that, though, what is particularly revealing about this process is that this process was actually fairly removed from President Trump. So the two things that you cited, the border wall and the executive order regarding, the travel ban, these are two things that came from the executive branch. So now, of course, the president did nominate Brett Kavanaugh to the Supreme Court, but this has been in the Senate's hands. And, Judge Kavanaugh is a pretty traditional, comes from a pretty traditional conservative Republican pedigree. Of course, he's not a partisan anymore. He just adopts an originalist jurisprudence, which is what made him so attractive to conservatives. But this is, we're talking about a fairly conventional nominee. This is a nominee that had you had, for example, a President Jeb Bush, this is a nominee you would have seen from him for the Supreme Court. So I think the fact that, on day one when Judge Kavanaugh was nominated, that Senator Chuck Schumer got up, the minority leader, of course, of the Senate, and said that he would do anything he could to stop this nomination. I think it was sort of a wake-up call in saying, this isn't just a President Trump opposition. This is opposition to, to anything that the Democrats even remotely disagree with. And I think that Senator Lindsey Graham has had a particularly compelling, story to tell in all of this because he voted for Justices Kagan and Sotomayor. He's fulfilled his advice and consent role, I think, as it should be in the last couple of confirmations. And the Democrats have just similarly, or they have not been as willing to come to the table.
I'm really torn on this, and this has been one of the issues I've had in talking about Judge Kavanaugh on this show, is that ideologically he is certainly a great conservative constitutionalist, textualist to nominate to the bench. However, after watching his testimony about his college and high school life last Thursday, I honestly believe that he lied to the Judiciary Committee, and that gives me pause in thinking that he should be sitting on the highest bench in the land.
Well, I mean, look, the FBI has just completed its 7th investigation into this man. They've interviewed people throughout a range of his life, and I just don't think that there's anything, that significantly stands in opposition to what he said during his testimony, which is that, of course, he enjoyed drinking while in college and in high school, and he still does, and like any kid, sort of made mistakes and at times drank too much. But I don't think that anything has come out that can significantly corroborate a claim to the contrary.
I think his own yearbook entries seem to corroborate a lot of the allegations against him. I mean, can you honestly believe that that Ralph Club had to do with his stomach and that he didn't drink to black out, and the stories about his behavior while drinking to excess may not be true. I find those stories more believable than perhaps even the sexual assault charges.
I mean, I think that if we're in a position where we're evaluating what was said in the high school yearbook, this is really just showing, how much this process has decayed. This is a person that, like I said, has been through 6 FBI background investigations. He has had over 17,000 pages of decisions and writings and records to look at. Hundreds of thousands of pages were released from his time during the Bush administration.
Only about 10% of the documents actually came out, correct?
But when you compare it to, well, first of all, it's important to put in context what where he was coming from. This is a man who was staff secretary at the White House. It means that his hands literally touched every single piece of paper that went on the president's desk. So when the Democrats like to claim that not all of the documents were released, they're talking about they're speaking out of context, because surely not every piece of paper that passed through Brett Kavanaugh's hands is something that he had a direct policy involvement with. So I think that proportionally, if you look at it through that, they released more documents than, for example, the documents that were released from Justice Kagan, another Obama administration official. This man has had a lengthy record out there. He's been a public official for many years, and the fact that, and look, I have participated in background investigations for other people who are seeking security clearances and different positions in Washington. They ask you about people's drinking habits. They ask you if someone has a gambling problem, if someone has a drug problem, if someone has a problem drinking. And not only do they ask you that, they ask you to provide them with a few more names of people who could then, that they can go and talk to. They might ask you, can you provide a neighbor, can you provide a friend, someone else that this person worked with, because they're looking to get a full picture. So the fact that he went through this process 6 times, it's just, it's pretty. My point is that if there were concerns when it came to his drinking, I just think that they would have come up at some other point during his tenure as a public servant.
Alex Wilkes is here on the Scott Show on News Radio 1370 and 92.9 FM, the executive director of America Rising, formerly known as Alexander Smith. Alex, you mentioned Lindsey Graham. Let me play some audio from earlier today. You tweeted this out a couple of hours ago. This is Senator Lindsey Graham being confronted in a press gaggle in the hallway of the Senate office building.
The Brett Kavanaugh that I knew before the committee is the Brett Kavanaugh I know now. The only difference is an effort to ruin this man's life. I am ready to vote.
And do Democrats question the scope and the timing?
They will question. Let me talk about because you humiliated this guy enough, and they said bottom for some of you. So why don't we dunk him in water and see if he floats?
I think he is fed up with this entire process. What are you, Alex, expecting in Washington, D.C. over the next couple of days? I really haven't had a chance to watch any of the cable news outlets today, but I know that there are already protest marches in the area. I saw on CNN this morning that they had embedded some of their reporters with busloads of protesters being sent into the D.C. area. Are you expecting this to be pretty chaotic over the next 24, 48 hours?
Yeah, I mean, the fact that you've had to have, increased security on Capitol Hill, that these key senators are walking around with police escorts, I mean, it's a scary time and it's a sad time to see this all play out. So, I think that what we can expect is that it's going to be a close vote, that there's going to be a lot of passions on both sides, and I honestly just pray that nothing happens. We've seen what happens when passions get too inflamed. A very scary example comes to mind when a deranged Bernie Sanders supporter went out and shot up a baseball field of Republican congressmen, permanently injuring Congressman Steve Scalise. So, and look at Rand Paul, for example, gets into a fight with a neighbor and gets, 6 of his ribs cracked. This is a contentious time in America, and I just hope everyone stays safe.
Where are we quickly on the vote right now? I believe Senator Flake will be a yes. I believe I read that Senator Heitkamp would be a no. Where are you on wrangling votes at this hour?
I think that Senator Heitkamp is a no. I think that Senator Donnelly, he's kind of a question mark because he had originally said that he was going to come out, or that he was not going to support Kavanaugh. But that was before the FBI investigation, so it's still up in the air about whether or not that's going to change his vote. I would say it likely won't. But Senator Joe Manchin is someone who has a lot to lose by voting against this nominee. He's in a very, very close race right now, and I think that's going to be a big factor. So we still haven't heard from Senator Flake. We haven't heard from Senator Collins, Senator Murkowski. If we assume we need about 2 of those to get to a place where, if needed, the vice president could come in and be a tiebreaker.
Right now, my count is about 47, 48 yes, 49 obvious no's. So it's going to be pretty tight. Alex, I missed you on Fox News Channel's Outnumbered yesterday. Were you wearing pink?
I was wearing purple.
On Wednesdays we wear pink.
Oh, on Wednesday I did not wear pink. That is a very sad fact. I'm sorry about that.
You missed Mean Girls Day on October 3rd.
I know. This is you have to take away my girl card.
You can't sit with us.
Alex, have a great day, and you're so fetch.
Thank you.